ecer2009, the podcasts. This interview is with Herbert Altrichter from the Johannes Kepler University of Linz in Austria.
Good morning. We are here at the conference ecer2009 in Vienna, and we have with us
Herbert Altrichter. I'm a professor of education at Johannes Kepler University in Linz in Austria.
Nice to meet you. Is it the first time that you attend this conference?
No, it's not the first time. I've been to ESA conferences for several times.
Okay. You are here to present your paper, your research. Can you tell us about your topic?
Yeah, my keynote lecture had the title Evidence on Governance. And the idea of this lecture was that since I come from the area of German-speaking countries and much of our research is published in German language, the idea of my keynote lecture was to make accessible some of the research in our countries to an English-speaking audience. And in German-speaking countries, there's quite a new approach developing, which has the name of governance studies. Mm-hmm. And in my keynote lecture, I tried to do two things. The first thing was that I tried to introduce some of the concepts and the categories which governance studies use in German-speaking countries. I tried to make some proposals how to define the concept of governance. We usually define it as specific ways of different actors coordinating their actions in a multi-level system. So that would be the definition. And I tried to make that more concrete by showing what instruments we use to analyze coordination. What are actors doing when they coordinate their actions? Mm-hmm. That was the first part of the lecture. And in the second part of the lecture, I tried to show what type of empirical studies are done using these concepts. And I introduced 3 studies with different methodologies. One study was analyzing the legislation of all 16 German states with respect to giving more autonomy to individual schools. The second study were case studies about schools using autonomy legislation to develop their curricula. Mm-hmm. And the third type of studies was basically a study about performance and experiences of school students in these schools using autonomy legislation for having new curricula. And I tried to show that governance studies are working on different levels of the school system, that they are using different methodology in order to cope with a complex phenomenon as changing the governance of the school system.
How do you see the future of educational system in your countries? As you told us about this, do we have something positive to expect in the future? Are we positive generally? What do you say?
Actually, that is very difficult to say. I personally am an optimist, so I think
even
if negative developments there are, sometimes the practice turns it into positive developments. But without joking, I think that the school systems in German-speaking countries are really in a phase of huge transformation. That would be true, I think, for many parts of the world, but it is much more astonishing for German-speaking countries because we had in the 80s until the beginning of the 1990s, we had really a time of very stable structures of the school system. A colleague of mine called it a time of stagnation.
Oh.
And since the middle of the 90s, there are very big changes in the governance of the school system. Educational standards have been introduced. Performance tests have been introduced, and this whole policy, evaluation, assessment, also in-school quality management, and this policy of evidence-based development of schools has been introduced in different German-speaking school systems, and we know not yet what the results will be, because on one hand, we know from empirical studies, obviously, implementation is not so easy. Obviously, results, as have been promised by the promoters of these reforms, do not come so easily. And thirdly, I would say that a lot of frictions in these school systems are produced. And so I find it very difficult to answer your question. In some sense, rather surprised by how many changes happened during a comparatively short span of time.
But it's good generally to see that people want to support this change, make an effort for this, and this is good. Anything that is stable cannot be good, because we have this change of our society, so we have to change also our educational system. And this is good to what you're doing. The research is really interesting, and I hope we have a positive outcome of this effort. I thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best in the future.
Thank you, the same to you.
Thank you very much.
This recording was made at the ECER conference in Vienna in September 2009. It is a Pontedusky and VetNet production for ECER. The program is licensed under a Creative Commons non-commercial attribution share-alike license.